welcome back to The Great Journey.
Great journey.
We're six friends dedicated to re-exploring the vast universe of Halo, one installment at a time, covering the books, novels, films, and of course the games. And we'll be discussing, learning, and reminiscing along the way. My name is Jim, back to host for the first time this season. Round of applause, please, for all my fellow recurring hosts, Will, Tom, Robbie, James, and Charlie. This is one of the first ones where we're all back in session for the game and the podcast too, right?
Yeah, actually.
I don't know. Tom, is your
Time
to go?
Yes, it is. I have a new Xbox. It works.
Sick.
All right.
We're cooking.
Hell
then.
yeah.
Let's not jinx
yeah.
it then. We'll...
All right. Yeah. Nobody touch it. So last episode, we started out discussing the first 8 chapters of Silent Storm. I'm sorry, not the first 8. Chapters 8 through 14 of Silent Storm. As a recap, the Spartans, partnered with ODST Black Daggers, begin their attack on the ice quarry planet Biko. The task force deploys into a trap set by rebel forces, and the Spartans must work quickly to prevent the insurrectionists from escaping the planet and giving away their main objective, ambushing an incoming Covenant fleet. Despite their success, Nyeto reveals that the Spartans are indeed child soldiers, and Commander Crowther sidelines the Spartans going forward. The break is short-lived, however, when the Covenant arrive and down Task Force Yama's flagship. As the aliens race for the data aboard the vessel, the Spartans again are called into action to prevent the enemy from capturing it. As the Covenant closes in, John makes a desperate choice to blow apart the area around the vessel, engulfing everyone and everything in an avalanche of ice. Meanwhile, Covenant Fleet Master Nizet Corvasi oversees the progress of his campaign against humanity. He partners himself with the Silent Shadow First Blade Tel Sazalai, who he appoints to deal with the Spartan super soldiers. This task will be aided by information provided by rebel forces attempting to ally themselves with the Covenant in exchange for freedom from the UNSC. Regardless of species, there is one thing that both sides can agree on: a desire for complete destruction of the Spartans. Pretty good chunk of chapters. I didn't get to talk about this with you guys last week, but they're pretty entertaining with the rebel forces and getting to see their inner workings and how they're trying to strategize with this new information of aliens coming in. And, like Lao Tzu says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So trying to figure out how to make a deal with the Covenant.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, moving on to, actually, we're going to take a quick break. Oh, we don't have one.
I don't even.
Okay.
I don't even have one actually. So.
All right. Well, we don't have. Okay, so we nailed everything we said in the last episode. Was absolutely perfect, and no notes. So, listener, keep your mouth shut.
I mean, I feel like I talked less last episode, so we should
That's probably
do
why.
a correlation graph to what does James say and how much actually has to happen.
I think we could absolutely tie those two things together. All right, so we'll move on tonight. We're going to be proceeding with the next 8 chapters, discussing 15 through 22. So, brief synopsis of chapters 15 and 16. John awakens, trapped in an avalanche of ice and snow. At the surface, Fred takes command of the available Spartans and begins to initiate the nuclear self-destruct button on board the downed Prowler. Finally able to dig himself out, now with only a sidearm, John observes as more Covenant reinforcements arrive to try and capture the vessel. Relaying details to Fred while pushing for intervention from the absent Nyeto, John has no option but to attack alone. As the Spartans protect the bomb from inside, John dispatches a pair of elites, but takes damage to his armor. A Covenant vessel arrives to lift the Prowler from the ice just as Nyeto finally arrives and forces off any reinforcement. Fred announces the bomb is armed, and the Spartan group with the crash survivors exit via the vessel's projectile escape pod. At this point, John and the other Spartans at the surface race to clear up the EMP and thermal radiation from the explosion. Star Unite explodes, simultaneously destroying the Covenant recovery vessel, and Spartans have an undisputed victory with no losses. John coming in clutch again. Chapter 16. On board the cruiser Vanishing Point, the remnants of Task Force Yama pay respect to those killed while capturing Biko. We learn that Nyeto is indeed a spy, and worse yet, with Halima Ascot's death, he is now de facto leader of the task force. He secretly hates the UNSC and especially the Spartans, but he must now keep his composure and toe the line. He outwardly praises the Spartans and commends them with the priority in any upcoming mission. This does not sit well with Crowther, and they outwardly threaten one another to get their way. Fearing any inspection of himself or his past, Nyeto backs down and allows Crowther to remain in charge of the military personnel. Aside, Johnson confronts Crowther and works to convince him that the Spartans are necessary, regardless of their age. Interestingly, Crowther admits this as well, but has instead retained control of the Spartan group only to keep it away from Nyeto, who he is now highly suspect of. This, it seems, everyone can now agree upon. Instead, Crowther proposes a new mission: infiltrate Covenant-captured worlds and disrupt their supply line from the rear. Perfect mission for Johnson and his Spartans. Pretty action-packed chapter. I don't think there's too much development here. There's really the first couple of chunks here, or this whole battle sequence, starting from like, I don't know what I'm on the audiobook, so my chapters are different, but this whole battle sequence is pretty sweet in how it's played out, I think.
I got a quick question about this one. I don't know if anybody has the answer, but when they're trapped under the avalanche, John says like two of them says that they're incapacitated. I think one of them's like Samuel. Like, I don't think, do they explain like how they get these guys out of the snow? I don't know. That part where I'm just like, what happened to the guys that were incapacitated under the avalanche? The two Spartans.
Kind of picturing, just based on what they kind of said about John, it almost seemed like his Mjolnir armor just took over and just figured out which way was up and try to surface that way. So that's how I kind of pictured the other incapacitated Spartans were able to get out of that avalanche.
Yeah, you might be right on that.
Did he try? I don't remember if he tried to contact him on the radio or not when he goes out. Otherwise, how else would he know if they were incapacitated, or just as if they're just kind of physically stuck?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think he may have been trying to like call by their names, but yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, they do make a big deal about all the radio communications in this book too. So
Yeah, there's times where they gotta be quiet and not
Yeah.
and go radio silent and whatever.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that might have been at a point where they were going like no comms.
Not at this point, I don't think, but
Okay. This slimy dude Nyeto, get confirmation that he's one bad hombre, but pretty blatantly spelled out at this point, right? Like even when we first meet him, he's like just a kind of an obstructionist dick.
Super manipulative.
Yeah.
Trying to be friends with John.
yeah, I was saying last episode that like, there's been so many red flags with Nyeto that like maybe it's just too obvious and he's not actually a bad guy, but then yeah, he's a bad guy. So
It was cool getting his perspective on everything.
it's true.
He is like, he is a bad guy and he's a traitor, but he feels sympathy for the people that like, for the Spartans because they're fucking children, and the soldiers and some of the people that died that would have called him friend.
I was just gonna say it's kind of funny just going on the obvious part of it in the audiobook. Like they do, the guy reading it does Nyeto like a very obvious Russian accent. It's like, oh yeah, pretty much too on the nose with all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. In the audiobook, he does portray him just like vocally as somebody really untrustworthy, even when he's not necessarily doing something like devious.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to what we were just talking about, it's here in chapter 15, the first paragraph. It says, I'll read it real quick. Naomi 010 and Solomon 069 were listed as incapacitated. 4 more Spartans, including John himself, were listed as immobile.
Huh.
So John and 4 others were immobile, right? And
Yeah.
they were able to get out of the snow. But Naomi and Solomon says they were incapacitated. So I was just like wondering, I'm like, how'd they get, if they're incapacitated, what, like they're knocked out or something? I don't know. But I guess it doesn't really explain how they get out of the snow, or somebody gets them out of the snow, I gotta assume.
That's a good catch. I think that's maybe a little bit of a plot hole there.
But at the end of either this chapter or the end of the beginning of the next one, they confirm that there was no Spartan
Yeah.
fatalities, right? So
Yep, they do.
I guess yeah, they just kind of brush that under the rug real quick. So
They got him out somehow. That's a ripe seed for a well actually next week.
Yeah, for sure. How did Solomon get out of the fucking snow and silent strike?
there's probably a good chance that it's answered somewhere on the internet.
I bet it is. I bet we just missed it.
So, Crowder, he's on to Nyeto, just because he took too long on taking out the Covenant ships.
It seems like everyone's onto him now. I mean, hell, Johnson's on. Basically, the only person that's not confirmed onto him is John.
Yeah.
Our boy,
Meathead.
our meathead, who's only like 15. So I guess you kind of have to give him a pass. I feel like we've been maybe a little too hard on a teenager, and like in what grade are you in? Like a sophomore in high school when you're 15.
You idiot!
Idiot! How could you not see this military subterfuge?
And when they first try to break it down to him, Johnson, he's like not really having it. He's like, he's always had my back. What do you mean he could be, be a traitor? Kind of just showing his naivety.
Yeah, he didn't want to believe it. I think there was like one line that Johnson says when they're starting the assault on the ice covered enforcements or whatever, and he's like, yeah, you've never seen a brass like let their mouth slip or like do something stupid and blow an operation or whatever. Been kind of alluding to Nyeto as well there too, potentially being somebody not entirely trustworthy.
What do you guys think about this plan to attack the Covenant's, I guess, supply chain?
If it worked for Sun Tzu, it will work for the Spartans for sure.
Yeah, they mentioned Sun Tzu, the art of war in this chapter.
I mean, that's no surprise given how much historical military references there are in the lore, right?
Especially his book so far, it's been kind of jam-packed in here. So
yeah,
this has been pretty, as far as the books goes. Like there's been in previous books some pretty detailed battle scenes, but this one seems to be kind of another level of like talking about troop movements and different tactics that they're using, and a little more kind of nerdy about that detail.
The battles are lasting like multiple chapters.
Yeah, right. That's that too, right?
I felt the other books so far have kind of like you wrap it up in like one chapter, or you don't even get the battle. You just hear about it from another source or something. Definitely action packed so far.
It's good. Any other thoughts on the chapter 15, 16 developments? No. Okay. Moving on, chapter 17. The Spartan group, sidelined after the events at the quarry, observe the incoming Covenant fleet from aboard vanishing point. As the enemy vessels come into range, they notice that they are employing a very conservative tactic and deduce that the aliens are afraid of any further boarding actions. Given that the main plan of attack is to send the Black Daggers to board and infiltrate the vessels, this appears to be a very bad start to the operation. Johnson emerges and speaks to Blue Team, tells them that although Crowder appears to be working against the Spartans, he now needs them to assist in another way. The suspicions surrounding Nyeto are too many to ignore, and the Spartans, along with Johnson, will now focus on the planet of Etalon to hit their reserve convoys. John, not suspicious of everyone in Task Force Yama, knows there's only one way to proceed: do what is ordered of him. By the way, before I read chapter 18, I just want to say how absolutely hilarious it is that they're, like, our plan as a species to fight this alien enemy who has outgunned us and has way better technology than us, is to just literally fire people at their ships.
Well, it's been working.
It has worked. It's just really funny.
Ships on ships doesn't match up.
That doesn't go. It does not go well.
One greeny guy.
Yeah, right. One green boy. One greeny boy. A whole fleet of Covenant corvettes versus one greeny boy. Yeah. Who will win? I'll read 18 as well. Meanwhile, Tel Setzulai and his pair of Jirolhane escorts board the captured rebel transport, Emilien. Although it is foolish to accept a second meeting with the humans, given the deceit at first, the Spartans have the Covenant on edge. Arriving unarmed, the aliens are brought before the rebel leader, Harper Garvin, amid a mutiny of a fellow rebel captain. Hysterical that the aliens' alliance would not save the planet Biko, Captain Booth threatens to detonate a nuke he is holding unless his demands are met. Setzulai does not back down, calling his bluff, grabs the nuke, and kills the captain. Garvin calms the situation and reconfirms his bid for alliance by providing the elite with a data shard containing the dynamics of the Spartans and their armor. Garvin once again requests that aliens help rid the UNSC from Biko, and Setzulai accepts, taking rebel Vittoria Zoyas as their human liaison. The aliens depart. Man, these rebels.
So we get the meeting, because you weren't here, Jim, but the last episode we were kind of lamenting how we don't get this meeting, this scene between the rebels and the Covenant.
Yeah, right. I was hoping to see that too, of round 2 of whatever negotiations we're going to have.
Yeah, like how would it happen? How would it go down? And we get it in this chapter.
And it goes down pretty fucking awesome, I think.
Pretty terribly all around.
Just Zatulai is like, you're not gonna detonate that nuke. Grabs it from him and just beats him to death with it.
Just love how this chapter is in his point of view too. It's like, yeah, these guys are just such amateurs. They're so disorganized. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have no problem just taking this from him.
Yeah. Zatulai, he's a true professional. Like the way he's analyzing them, and he's able to read like, okay, these guys aren't as disciplined as like a normal like army. These guys are rebels, and just analyzing them, being like, okay, well, these guys are more likely to be more reckless and less disciplined.
He doesn't even speak to Garvin, even though we know that he understands English, right? He's like making his guards like do everything for him, and he's just kind of like signaling, not saying anything. I guess that I took that as a sign of like these humans are below me sort of situation.
Oh yeah, totally. No, they don't respect the humans at all.
Yeah, he literally gives his two Jurohane companions. He's like, you have permission to kill like two of them if they get in the way.
Do one of them kill one person before they go in the room, or was
One of them was like videotaping him, and Zatulai does like a
Kind of like he signals to like his brute to do something about that because he's pissed that he thinks he looks like a sideshow character to the humans. So he like has the brute like fucking knock the thing out of the dude's hands and just like, I don't think he kills him, but he like pushes him against the wall,
yeah.
breaks something.
He does a Toby Maguire, just grabs the camera.
Huh. I'm gonna revert back to 17 real quick because it was revealed that Halsey had captured like one of the down Covenant vessels. She had captured a hollow projector thingamajigger and is like currently studying it. So that might come up later in the chapters as well. And I guess it's important to clarify that because we left off one chapter last episode where John put all the rebel prisoners on a escort flight and let it fly away. We're all like, "Oh, that's gonna go well."
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out Nyeto let them escape, which we figured was going to be the case. So that is why Harper Garvin is back with the rebels at this point in the story. So
Right, which that made me wonder, like, if the Spartans didn't end up taking the initiative and leaving to go rescue that prowler, and they did go on that ship to escort the prisoners, what were they planning on doing with the Spartans?
well, at that point, it was Crowther. He was still upset that the Spartans were just kids and didn't want them on the battlefield at all. So I guess their
Right.
job would just have been escorting these prisoners to wherever. Is that what you're
Right.
asking?
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, the people that were piloting that transport, they're part of Nyeto's group, you know? So, the Spartans would have been on this prisoner ship that we know is completely full of rebel, like innies, all the prisoners and the pilots are innies. What were they, if the Spartans did not leave to go do that rescue mission on the Prowler, they would have been stuck on that ship. So what was going to be their plan for the Spartans on that ship? You know what I'm saying?
One greenie boy versus a ship full of rebels. Who will win?
Who would win?
Yeah, it's a good point, but I guess a moot point at this point because it didn't happen. But
Right.
food for thought. Yeah.
I wonder if, like, I don't know, if they were gonna like hand over the Spartans to the Covenant and be like, "This is up what you're dealing with," instead of just giving them the schematics of the armor, be like, "Here's the actual armor."
They also kind of walked back the amount of detail they were going to give them. The rebels were going to give the Covenant, right? Because originally they were going to tell them about like larger battle plans or something. That might be
I
another
think you're
one-off.
right. I think they were even talking about like locations of inner colonies and stuff, right?
Yeah, right. And then the big one was going to be that they were just going to tell them where Earth was,
Yeah, I think so.
which feels like a pretty awful thing to do.
I know.
All right, any further thoughts on the rebels meeting up with the Jirohane? and selling their race out to a bunch of apes, stinky
Yeah,
space monkeys.
I mean, dude, these guys are like they get no reassurances.
Right?
Like
They just immediately toss them this info after
they're so dumb.
one of their negotiators just gets beaten over the head with the nuke that he was going to use.
Yep.
Sweet. Great bargaining position.
We've got great positions. The best.
The best negotiating tactics.
Never seen better negotiations.
They're coming to me. They're calling me nonstop, telling me, "Sir, we want to negotiate, please, sir.
Not these insurrectionists.
Sir, we want to know where Earth is. Please tell us."
That's not that bad, Jim.
Thank you. Covenant tariffs. All right, moving on to chapter 19. The Spartans are preparing for their upcoming attack on the Covenant forces surrounding Italan. Now cut off from the events at Pico, the teams are pushed for time as the Covenant fleet appears to be preparing to depart. As John and Johnson question which vessel they should focus their attacks on, Halsey arrives with pertinent information. A grouping of Covenant ships, they are collecting the gases from the planet to produce their plasma ammunition. The conversation is kept hush-hush, however, as Halsey reveals she found secret surveillance devices on board and in her lab. She states that Nyeto has been a spy all along, so their actions should be secret and quick to prevent any countermeasures. They prepare to use the captured Banshees to slip in unnoticed into these skimming vessels and destroy them. Halsey also reveals that if successful, they can narrow down the location of the Covenant's primary supply depot and force a halt to further enemy operations in the galaxy. So now full-on confirmation that Nyeto is a spy. Not that we didn't know that 2 chapters ago.
More so, everyone seems to know that he's a spy. Like,
Yeah, everybody knows he's dirty.
She says that she knew the moment he started talking about their age at the debriefing, she like checked and found bugs all over her lab and her office.
I have to wonder like how, because they've been making a big deal, a big to-do about these child soldiers, and I just wonder like what is the ultimate. I mean, obviously the NATO wants to stop the Spartans from being used in battle, but I kind of question like, okay, so the news gets out that the Spartans were children kidnapped at the age of 6 or whatever it was, and conscripted into the UNSC. But I don't know. I feel like the higher ups that this news would then get to have to like that would have any jurisdiction to make any change there probably wouldn't care at that point and would just be like, okay, well, aliens are threatening to wipe out all of humanity, so a couple of kids fighting in the that super soldier children, not really the biggest deal right now. Like we're gonna let that one go, let that one slide.
yeah, they're clearly kicking ass on the battlefield, but you're like,
Yeah, right. That too, and they're extremely effective.
yep. But they're only 15.
They're only 15. There's only an entire alien species. We've only just discovered aliens, and they're only trying to wipe us out. So, yeah, a couple of kids might have to get involved at some point. Chapter 20. On board the stealth cruiser Vanishing Point, the Spartans are given the green light for their operation. Blue Team climbs into 4 captured Covenant Banshees and jet into space, targeting 3 Covenant atmosphere skimmers. They destroy a remotely controlled UNSC base lard as a decoy and become quickly shadowed by alien piloted Banshees upon their approach. They hope that the enemy takes them for damage friendlies, and the ruse buys them time until green and gold teams initiate their tasks. The other Spartan teams detonate their nukes, destroying Covenant freighters as a decoy, and the EMP knocks out all of the Banshees. In the blackout, Blue Team disembarks and float toward their targets. Linda and Johnson cover the others with their snipers, but John's suit thrusters begin to give him away. Banshees break off from protecting the skimmer and close in on him. Johnson demands he abort, to no avail. John arms his nuke and proceeds on the intercept course until finally letting go as he sails past the vessel as the bomb detonates. There we go. That's classic Halo. Just Tom Bradying the nuke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Halo 2 for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of that. I was thinking that scene actually. We'll get there eventually, but
No wonder he
Just,
does it so good in the game. He's had practice.
Yeah,
Since he was
I guess you're right.
15.
Yeah.
chucking nukes around. All right.
It's cool that Spartans, despite only having just recently captured Banshees, I guess they already figured out how to pilot them enough to appear like they're aliens. It's
And they make the Banshees look all fucked up, so they're just like, okay, maybe their comms are, broken, and that's why they can't communicate with us. They thought it all out.
It was a very clever move.
yeah, but this Covenant's still got to be pretty fucking dumb. Fall for that shit.
I mean, maybe one Banshee, but you
Right.
got all these freaking Banshees that are not communicating with you. I mean, what are the odds? Come on.
I feel like it's still at a point because this is so early on in the conflict that the Covenant are still like a bit arrogant in underestimating the humans. Like, oh, even if they capture one of our ships, they're never going to be able to figure out how to fly it, and so maybe they just are a little too arrogant to actually think that that was a possibility.
I can definitely buy that. Yeah.
Definitely tracks in the fact that like the Covenant's just been destroying the space battles so
Yeah,
far
that too,
that
right? They've been
their technology is just vastly superior, but so they just assume that they're the vastly superior beings.
that's my headcanon anyway too. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch in chapter 19? It said that a Mjolnir suit costs as much as a UNSC starship.
I saw,
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's big money.
That is big space bucks. So they're basically all the Spartans are worth a whole entire fleet of UNSC ships then.
But we'll sideline them because they're 15. So
Yeah, because they're 15. So whatever. That's military waste for you, man. What are you gonna do?
it's like giving a 15-year-old a Bugatti. You can look at it,
Yeah.
but you can't use it. Not till you're 18.
All right. Any further thoughts on that little sequence?
Oh, just a badass.
It's a badass
First
scene.
chapter.
It's pretty sweet.
Spartans fighting in space.
That's right. All right. To round off our portion of the book for this evening, chapter 21 and 22. As the smoldering remains of Biko lay below their plasma bombardment, Fleet Master Nizat Kovarsi reflects on his battle plans. The humans put up a desperate but emboldened fight, stalling his advance while the Spartans were able to slip behind them and disrupt their supply chain. If not for the information provided by the human rebels, his fleet may very well have been decimated in their planned frontal attacks. Tel Satsalai enters and is immediately chastised by the minor Sanchayum, Minister Survey, for allowing the Spartans to continue their attacks. Could the rebels be feeding them lies, or are the humans realizing they have a spy in their midst? Nizat announces that despite being low on fuel after their Spartans destroyed their skimmers, they will soon be resupplied with new vessels stationed at a planet named Igni. The news is not welcome, however, as Satsalai reveals that the humans have captured Kelgiud, a Covenant star map that could identify the locations of the entire fleet. Despite Survey demanding they return to High Charity, the elites now shift their attention to defending their supply depot and meeting the Spartans head-on. In 22, Halsey dissects the captured Covenant star map, trying to establish their likely base of operations. Matrices and vortexes intersect to reveal the Covenant's slip space routes. Based on their estimated travel time, she whittles down the possibilities to a few planets, and her AI, Deja, crunches the numbers to help come to a conclusion. Despite NATO's surveillance, a virus affecting her, Deja predicts that the Covenant are likely stationed at a planet named Badra. Halsey, then visited by a gentleman caller, welcomes Colonel Crowther into her quarters. Flirting outwardly, she lures him into her bedroom where she confirms they can talk privately without NATO's eavesdropping. Alone, they discuss how to handle the spy amongst their ranks.
Ooh.
Anyone think that she was about to? Yeah, she was about to see Keys.
Wink,
Oh,
wink.
we're gonna get a Keys scene here. Keys
Yeah.
Halsey sex scene.
He was gonna show her black dagger.
They talked about they talked about Miranda in this chapter, didn't they?
Yeah. They said that she was 1 year old already. So then Crowther walks in. I'm like, that slut.
Halsey goes, Deja, play, get in the mood. The lights dim.
Yeah.
Play the playlist, getting lucky.
And this is how Halsey made steals.
Yeah, she slept her way to the top to become whatever her position is.
Science person or something. Who knows?
Science lady, top science broad for the UNSC.
She's still working with Deja at this point, so that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. Call back to Fall of Reach.
This is
Well, this
way
is
before
before.
the fall.
Yeah, this is way before the Fall Reach.
Well, no, it's the beginning of Fall of Reach when Deja was training the Spartans. Remember?
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I thought. I guess kind of more on the aspect of this Covenant star map. She's talking about trying to figure out where their like supply planet is. It's clear that she's kind of getting to the thought that they aren't really getting resupplied by a planet, but I don't think she's quite expects like how massive High Charity is. What they say, how big High Charity was, like size of a moon. I think it was in a previous chapter for that.
I'm sorry, Robbie. I guess I don't follow. I don't think they were talking about High Charity as their supply depot. They were talking about a different planet.
I kind of, I mean, you could be right, but I was kind of thought this was just pointing to, Halsey was just looking at all these possible planets, and she's like, no way they got resupplied this fast, and she's like, are the calculations correct? I don't seem to. It just doesn't seem to make sense, but I don't know. I kind of interpreted it as that she just doesn't realize that High Charity could be the one that's supplying everything.
Which is
At
like
least that,
basically a moving planet.
yeah, which won't have that big gravity field, but it is big enough that it could, they could get a bunch of supplies from. So I don't know. That's what I took at least.
Well, we learned in that chapter where you had the Covenant Fleet Master talking to the prophet or the minor prophet. He said that they were he called up reinforcements and like more skimmers into the fleet because they lost them, right? And he said that they're like traveling and being stationed at this other planet, the separate planet, and that's when Zatulai was like, "Oh snap! Like humans can figure out where that planet is now because they captured the star map." So it's not. I don't
Okay,
think
I must
it's
have missed
high.
that then.
Yeah, it's not High Charity.
I kind of thought that was hinting that High Charity was the
Yeah.
main supply for their resupply, but that sounds right.
To add on to that as well, Prophet was the one that was like now very scared, and he's like, we should just get out of here and go back to High Charity.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
Like he's like, they might now figure out where High Charity is. We got to go defend High Charity. And the two elites were like, nah, I'm not gonna listen to you. Shut up. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it. I don't. They're not referencing High Charity as to where this showdown battle is going to be.
That would be cool. I do hope we get some human interaction with High Charity, human attack on it or something. Maybe they fire some more Spartans at it.
Maybe in one of the games. Maybe.
One greenie boy versus all High Charity.
An entire alien civilization.
I found it does say it's a moon-sized space station.
Yeah, so
High
it's pretty
Charity
big.
was the moon-sized space station. Yep. The sacred capital city.
Pretty big.
I wanted to throw this out here. It was a quote from this minor minister who you don't think much of this entire book, but I think he had the best quote so far of this entire book. And I'll read it here. It says, they're talking about like, why would the humans continue to attack us? Are they not afraid? Something like that. And the minister says, what does death matter to a doomed species? So I just thought that was really cool where he's like, if humanity believes that they're doomed and it might not matter to them in the way that like they could just go balls to the wall, all out, hit them with everything they got, sort of thing, like last ditch stand. I thought that was a cool quote.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Yep. They're torturing the Black Daggers.
They are with their mind melters.
Yeah, I looked that up. They're just apparently like special interrogation people inside the Covenant. They call them mind melters. But didn't they say something along the lines of like the brutes were like ripping off their limbs and like
Yeah, they're
shit
playing
like that?
tossers. Yeah, tossers,
Yeah.
Jesus.
which is grotesque.
Fleet Master's like, you left the brutes in charge of them?
Left the
Uh-oh.
brutes. Oops. It's very relevant to the current debate online of 100 men versus one gorilla.
Man, don't get me started on
Greeny
that.
boy.
No.
We're definitely going men, right?
Yeah, of
gorilla
course,
all
dude.
day. Are you serious?
Okay.
Gorilla is just absolutely gonna. It's for sure a gorilla.
I don't know.
100 grunts versus one greeny boy.
Yeah, right. Same deal. Greeny boy. One more fun little fact here. We hear about some Covenant technology, the Kelgwid, which is their Covenant nav system, which is neat to hear about some other Covenant technology because we don't really get too much of an insight. Like we get pretty good detail on some of their weapons, but we don't necessarily hear too much about how the rest of their ships function in detail and how their navigation stuff works. But
Right.
pretty interesting that that's what that is, and also that we can then hack into it with our AI and pull the data out of that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think it is impressive how quickly the humans are able to like hack and decipher and decode all the Covenant intel that they get. Just shows how powerful the AI technology is.
I'm excited to see where this goes next.
Yeah, it's building up to a crescendo here, I think. I'm liking all the players.
Right? They got to type some loose ends here, yeah.
What will happen to Nyeto?
Dun,
We'll find out
Yep,
on the next episode.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do it, Will. Say it. Do it. Of?
Oh, you go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, you got it. You had it. You
No,
had
no,
it.
you got it.
Okay. The next episode of The Great Journey.
The great
Great journey.
journey.
All right, well, that wraps up our discussion of this portion of the book for this evening. Moving on, we've got our PvP tournament, sponsored today by Ungoy Methane and Methane Accessories, because oxygen is for weaklings. Hello, brave Ungoy. Are you tired of boring old methane? Tired of tanks that leak, masks that smell like Kigyar feet, or stars forbid, running out of the gas right before Spartan punts you across the battlefield? We can help at Ungoy Methane and Methane Accessories. We offer extra loud hiss tanks, glow-in-the-dark mask hoses, bubblegum scented methane refills, Supreme Methane Premium Blend, 20% more kick, 100% more bragging rights. Special offer, buy 2 tanks, get 1 free I Heart Methane helmet sticker, perfect for showing off at Covenant cookouts. Ungoy Methane and Methane Accessories. We don't just sell gas, we sell survival.
See some Ungoy on the battlefield with bling stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're an Ungoy listener, you definitely don't want to miss out on the special offer Ungoy Methane and Methane Accessories are offering through us.
Use coupon code lighter than some for 15% off.
R.I.P. Still too soon.
Still too soon. Still working through that one, huh?
Yeah.
Quick recap of last week. I was out on vacation. Tom's Xbox was still sidelines, and so we battled for 4 points. Will picked the battleground. We played Slayer Deathmatch on Sword Base in Halo Reach. Will was right in his wheelhouse, slayed his way to victory over the Peasants. Updated results after match 8 of the tournament. James leading with 27 points. Will trailing with 20. Robbie 19. Charlie 19. Jim not bottom with 10. Tom with 9. Winners get preference for next week's match, and Will retains his pick for tonight's fight. Will,
Tonight,
what are we doing?
We're going to be playing 3v3 Capture the Flag Halo 3 on Guardian.
Oh, yes. Love the
Rank
enthusiasm.
it.
Oh yeah.
How do we
Let's
pick
go.
the teams?
I haven't thought about that.
TBD.
DVD 3v3.
It will be Will, James, and Robbie versus Charlie. Yeah. You can also spin the wheel if you want it random. Or just that
All hail the wheel.
Halo all hail the wheel.
All hail the wheel.
Oh, hell, the wheel.
All right, so thanks for listening to tonight's episode. As always, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at The Great Journey Pod. We're on most major podcast platforms, and we greatly appreciate your likes, comments, and your follows to help boost visibility. What are the fates of the Spartan heroes? What will become of the fleet of inexhonorable obedience? Let us know your thoughts. Feel free to give us your input on social media, the topics we discuss, and even your ideas on how to improve or what we should cover next. We welcome you to join the great journey.
A great journey.
A great
If you
journey.
feel like supporting our show, you can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Great Journey Pod. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. With it, we can offset costs of hosting platforms, editing software, music subscriptions, and of course the actual media, all of which are the things that allow this project to keep progressing. We aspire to be an interesting, thoughtful, and fun contribution to the Halo community. As a TGJ Patreon member, you will receive a shout out live in one of our episodes, and should you choose, we will answer one of your questions on air, most likely incorrectly. You can ask us something like, how do you think Dr. Halsey should be judged as a hero? A war criminal, or something in between?
Ooh.
We move on.
Spicy.
Is it awful?
Anyone start then?
It's
James, you start.
complicated, I would say.
No, I thought about this. She's a bad person. She's not a hero. Like, you gotta realize Spartan 2 was created to fight insurrectionists. And so that's calling, like, are the people who made the first tanks heroes? Are the people who made the atom bomb heroes, right? Like, the Spartan 2s were made as a more advanced weapon, and you stole children from people to make that weapon, right? Like, there was no race war against the Covenant kind of thing, so, like, it wasn't, like, to save humanity, it was just like, "Oh, we're at war with insurrectionists, and we wanna hold our political power," and again, very politically fed war. So, no, I don't think she's a good person. That's it. That's my final thought.
That's a very valid point. I think that you're right that the root of her motivation in doing the Spartan 2 program was just for the insurrectionists. And it's just coincidence then that it happens to be something that we can now use to help save the human race. But originally it was not something so nice. Will, go ahead and defend your war criminal.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Um, I'm just saying it's complicated because without what she did, the human race, without a doubt, would go extinct. Without a doubt,
Probably.
True.
you know? And you gotta take that into account into her. You have to put that into the picture. That's all I'm saying.
It is a big moral dilemma. If like an unintended consequence of you doing something objectively bad is that it does something good, or do you deserve the credit for that good outcome still?
She saved John's life, okay? Like, if she didn't do what she did, like, John'd be a piece of glass, you
I guess
know?
technically, but he's
Yeah,
here's the
but
other thing. Is John actually a good person? Because we he is just like as a kid was just some fucking bully.
yeah, it was like, "Oh, we're gonna take these outlaw prisoner children and put them into military," like they do basically nowadays of like, "Yo, kid, you're not good at school. You're a bully. Sign up for the army."
I just
I
keep
don't
thinking of
know.
the one scene in the like animated thing that we watched of him playing like King of the Hill and just literally
Oh, just
beating the shit out
yeah.
of these other kids.
Yeah, right. And we can't really judge whether the. It's hard to judge whether the insurrection is like morally justified or not,
Yeah, that's
right?
they
And then
Yeah,
we don't have
that
really
was my
any real
thinking too,
detail
right?
on the insurrectionists' motivations, right? It's just that
right,
they
or
don't
like
like the
how they're
UNSC
being
and that's it.
exactly right. So yeah, it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge from that aspect. But yeah, I think your question of if your original intent is something else, but you inadvertently or kind of accidentally find yourself in a situation where you do good, what does that mean for you? Are you a good person? Are you not? I think that's a good question. I don't have an answer.
Food for thought, listeners.
Look, the insurrectionists, like, in previous episodes, didn't we go through, like, they, like, freaking setting off bombs on, like, space elevators and cruisers, killing, like, 3 million people in just one single attack and doing crazy shit like that?
Hey man, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these
Well,
insurrectionists were
Something,
out of hand. Somebody
yes,
needs
but
to bring them to justice.
something drove them to that point too, which we don't really get to see what drove them to that point. People don't just like blow themselves up out of, for no
Just for
reason.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely pissed about something.
Does that morally justify them to then perpetuate that violence on millions of basically civilians? It sounded like. I don't
Yeah,
know.
true. It's a really
I-
complicated moral question.
Violence
guys-
begat violence.
You guys
Yeah.
sound like a bunch of any sympathizers.
I feel like we're very neutral on this aspect. But looking into some of the lore, right? It's common topics of what you would probably expect, right? Like economic exploitation, right? The outer counters are very rich in minerals, but then they're also very poor people that live there, and like lack of representation and autonomy because again, outer colonies are ruled by the UNSC and the UEG, and it draws to get off of Halo lore. If you ever watched the show that spans, it's like why are Belters like upset with Earth because they're also underrepresented in the political realm and mistreated in that way. Not saying terrorist acts and acts of violence are good, but there's interesting underlying desires and wants and needs that sounds like innies have.
Oh, Dr. Halsey is bad because
Yeah,
we should
I mean,
respect the feelings of the innies. And he's got
again,
feelings
she's
too.
hired by a military powerhouse to create an advanced weapon. Like, remove the fact that she stole children to make this weapon.
That's
That
the
was
whole
her
big part. That's
task,
a big
right?
part of it.
Like,
That's a big. That's worse than just like making a better gun.
that's fair. Yeah, you're telling me that like Halsey couldn't make laser beams or like sentry drones or
Sharks
AI
with freaking laser
robots?
beams on their
Again,
head.
like
Freaking laser beams.
I'm sitting in between on this one, I think. There's arguments both ways. So
Yeah, I'm kind of in between too. I mean, I do think the fact that she ended up doing well, we don't know the end of Halsey's story yet. At least I don't.
Yeah,
But
they might get into it later.
she's she and the meathead are doing some good things for humanity. We can't argue that. But then the question is humanity justified? We are biased because we
Like-
are humans.
against the covenant.
Sure.
I
That
mean,
one seems pretty straightforward, Tom.
are you
that
saying
was
we
pretty
have it? We
straightforward.
deserve it.
Does it?
We had it
We
coming.
deserve to be wiped out.
from the
Yeah.
media of what we've read in terms of how the covenant and humans interacted first. I mean,
I don't know, man.
let's say who killed who first. Come
Those
on now.
hierarchs seem like pretty upstanding gentlemen to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
who killed who first here, Tom? Go ahead, say it.
All right, I will concede this point.
Oh,
Who bashed someone's head in with a rock?
I'm now backing Tom. You guys aren't walking the path right now. This is not the
You're
way
backing
of,
Tom
of
on
the great journey.
The
You're
great
you're backing
journey.
Tom on like the great journey. You're backing Tom on are humans deserve to have fought the
To be
covenant?
eradicated.
Yeah,
Why?
Okay. them and their devil spawn Spartans.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So
Charlie.
these children were born demons and should be eradicated. Okay, Charlie, thank you.
He's literally called the demon. We are so far off topic right now.
This is the highlight of the episode, the very last
Honestly, this
5 minutes.
I'm pretty happy with how much discussion this fostered.
I think my vote is that everybody sucks here. So the
Everybody
UNSC, the
sucks.
Innies, the Covenant, they all suck.
Oni.
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 You wanna know
Johnson's
who
dope.
you wanna know who's just kind of like out there doing their own thing and just trying to survive the flood, okay? That's who we have to back. They're just
Are
kind
the
of doing
flood
their own thing.
justified?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should we be caring about the flood's feelings?
Is the flood truly represented in this intergalactic world now?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, someone clearly is oppressing the flood where they're, to get to those extreme actions that the flood is taking.
I mean, yeah,
They
really,
just
like
want to unify the
the flood.
world.
The flood, yeah, exactly. The flood just wants to be dormant on their happy little rings and not bothering anyone. And who has to come and mess everything up? Humans and Covenant. Okay.
It's the path.
This is the way.
But I just want to say something real quick. Arguably, the worst thing that Halsey does is not make the Spartans, but makes Cortana. But that's for much, much later for us to get into that.
Does she
Yeah.
commits more crimes against humanity?
I can't
I
say.
mean,
We'll see.
yeah, we can't.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, listener, if you have any thoughts on Halsey, don't forget to message us on any of our social media platforms. Next episode, we'll be wrapping up a reading of Silent Storm, covering chapters 23 through the epilogue. As always, thank you for joining us, and we hope to have you back here for the next installment of The Great Journey.
The Great Journey.
Hey, it's Will, one of your hosts here on The Great Journey. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to connect with us, you can find us on most podcast platforms, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at The Great Journey Pod. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/The Great Journey Pod. Thank you for your listenership, and we'll hope to see you on the next chapter of The Great Journey.
A whole fleet of Covenant corvettes versus one greenie boy.
One greenie boy versus a ship full of rebels. One greenie boy versus all High Charity. Who will win?
About 100 grunts versus one greenie boy.